Hello, 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 and welcome back to Spin Cycle Live. I'm your host, Nathan Hale. Today, we have another great episode for you. Today is Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. We are talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're talking about new polls on political violence that have come out. We're talking about potential FBI cover-up, question mark. And we're ending it all off with a brand new word of the year from the Cambridge Dictionary. All that and more today on Spins Like Alive. Well, folks, some things have been transpiring between President Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it is getting kind of ugly. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene was never someone who I was a particular fan of. I've always felt that she was a little on the crazy side. Just my opinion. If you're a fan of Marjorie Taylor Greene, live your life, all that's good stuff. But I've always felt that she was on the crazy side, and it's beginning to show itself today. So this is an article from the Daily Wire. So I believe this is really just like a transcript of the Ben Shapiro show. But I watched the Ben Shapiro show yesterday, and he talked about Marjorie Taylor Greene. So I kind of want to recap what was discussed and kind of give my take on it. So Marjorie Taylor Greene revolts against MAGA. Trump has had enough. Over the weekend, a long simmering feud between Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene and the President of the United States finally boiled over. Greene, the Jewish space laser lady, has been attempting to run her own knockoff version of MAGA. She's been out retailing it to The View. She's been out retailing it to CNN and MSNBC. She's become the hot new thing in the legacy media. They now have strange new respect for Marjorie Taylor Greene because she has decided that she's going to attack Trump full time. President Trump put out a statement on Saturday slamming Greene for trying to undermine his administration. He wrote on Truth Social, lightweight Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, green grass turns brown when it begins to rot, betrayed the entire Republican Party when she turned left, performed poorly on the pathetic View, and became the rhino that we all know she always was. That followed Greene's repeated attacks on President Trump, particularly over Jeffrey Epstein. On Friday, Greene suggested on CBS that the President of the United States was attempting to protect pedophiles, saying, quote, the American people deserve to see transparency from their government. The rich, powerful people should not be protected. That is completely wrong, and it's a message to victims everywhere, victims of rape, human trafficking, and children who are trapped in terrible situations, that the government will not protect the predators, that we will work hard to protect the victims. It is ridiculous to suggest that the President of the United States is trying to protect predators. This line has been retailed by a wide variety of people who are supposedly allies of President Trump who have turned on him, using the Epstein files as a way of getting at him. Thus, the president withdrew his support for Marjorie Taylor Greene and suggested that he might back her opponent in the primary. Greene wouldn't be known if it had not been for the President of the United States touting her, treating her as an ally, and building her up. She got very angry because she wanted to run for Senate in Georgia, and he pointed out to her that she was going to lose by 20 points to Jon Ossoff if she ran for Senate in Georgia. This ticked her off, so President Trump finally lost on Truth Social, writing, quote, I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of the great state of Georgia. All I see wacky Marjorie do is complain, complain, complain. It seemed to all begin when I sent her a poll stating that she could not run for senator or governor. She was at 12% and didn't have a chance, unless of course she had my endorsement, which she wasn't about to get. She was told by many people that she is upset that I don't return her phone calls anymore, but the 219 congressmen and women, 53 U.S. senators, and 24 cabinet members, almost 200 counties, almost 200 countries, and an otherwise normal life to lead, I cannot take a ranting lunatic call every day. I understand that wonderful conservative people are thinking about primarying Marjorie in her district of Georgia, but they too are fed up with her and her antics, and if the right person runs, they will have my complete and unyielding support. He continued. She has gone far left, even doing The View with their low IQ Republican hating anchors. Greene was excited about this because she's attempting to, again, to run anti-Trump campaign inside the Republican Party. She responded by saying, "President Trump just attacked me and lied about me, always playing the victim." Quote, "I haven't called him at all, but I did send these text messages today," she stated. Apparently, this is what sent him over the edge, the Epstein files, and of course, he's coming hard after me to make an example to scare all the other Republicans before next week's vote to release the Epstein files. It's astonishing, really, how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out, that he actually goes to this level. But really, most Americans wish you could fight this hard to help the forgotten men and women of America who are fed up with foreign wars and foreign causes, are going broke trying to feed their families, and are losing hope of ever achieving the American dream. What she is saying, that the president is trying to cover up the Epstein files, is not true. The president made absolutely clear on Sunday that that was not the case. He put a post on Truth Social that read, quote, "As I said on Friday night, aboard Air Force One, to the fake news media, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide, and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party, including our great victory on the Democrat shutdown. The Department of Justice has already turned over tens of thousands of pages to the public on Epstein, are looking at various Democratic operatives, Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers, etc., and their relationship to Epstein, and the House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are legally entitled to. I don't care." Over the weekend, talking with CNN's Dana Bash, Greene slammed President Trump for calling her a traitor, even though she has spent the last several months beating up on Trump over and over again. Quote, "The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor," she said. "And that is so extremely wrong, and those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger." So, I could go on. I'm going to cut it off there. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene, in my opinion, is just the right's version of AOC. Like, AOC, I feel like, is just like, she's kind of a sassy Democrat. She's pushing the far left side of the party. She's trying to go into more of an extremist direction of the party. I feel the same way with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I feel that Marjorie Taylor Greene, they both go by acronyms, by the way, is kind of the opposite. She's Bizarro AOC. That's what I'm going to call her now. Bizarro AOC is Marjorie Taylor Greene, in that she is trying to push the Republican Party to the opposite direction and create this splinter movement to go like far right with the party. When in reality, as we all know, we're all here today because of the coalition that was built by President Trump, in that he was able to unite MAGA, the moderates, the low propensity voters. MAGA has become kind of this umbrella term used for the conservative movement today, right? We're all in this because we want to make America better again. We want to make America healthy again, right? We want to do these things. And it does not hinge on something like the Epstein files. It does not hinge on something like support for Israel. It does not hinge on all these other small little issues that, frankly, people on the right are continuing to rag on and on and on about, that have no weight in the greater grand scheme of things, right? What does hold weight is getting things like food dyes out of our food system, right? What does hold weight is what RFK is doing in the Department of Health. What does hold weight is our next story that we're going to talk about, which is dismantling the Department of Education. All of these things are actually making America better again in their own individual ways. But Marjorie Taylor Greene running a smear campaign against the president over his handling the Epstein files, which, don't get me wrong, the way the Epstein files have been handled this year has been atrocious. The whole like handing the folders out to the media people, that was atrocious, right? The president's made it clear that he's fine with the files being released. He said, go ahead, release them. Have the House sign over the bill. We'll release them. We'll release whatever's legally there. I don't care anymore, right? That's what he's always said the whole time. So suggesting the president is trying to cover up anything, I think it's kind of ridiculous. If anyone's trying to cover up anything, it's the Department of Justice and the FBI. But this isn't Donald Trump's fault here, right? He's saying release them. There's only so much you can do, man. Like, he's got a million other things on the plate. Like he said, he's handling running the greatest country in the whole world, he can't handle this, right? This is such a small little minute issue. So I think that Ben Shapiro is totally right in saying that she's upset and pissed off that she didn't get his endorsement to run for the Senate, um, because I'm sure that Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to make a run for the presidency at some point, and she sees getting that Senate seat as kind of her springboard to do it. Because we all know, like, people who are representatives, they don't really run for president, right? You kind of have to have won a statewide vote. You have to be a super popular person, otherwise it is like I'll give you an example. So Tulsi Gabbard, she ran for president in 2020, right? She was a representative at the time, but she was very popular otherwise, like in the media, right? She was the vice chair of the DNC. She had a lot. She was a very popular person in the Democrat camp when she ran. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I just don't think has that same appeal right now. And I think she feels that she needs to get that Senate seat, that statewide seat, to really lock down her springboard to run. Potentially, like she's thinking maybe 2028, right? She might be taking a couple years now. She might be taking 2032. I don't know. So, who knows? But Marjorie Taylor Greene will never be the president of the United States. I can tell you that. And I think she's crazy. So, that's all I'm going to say about that. Let me know your thoughts. So, let's go and move on to our next story. So, as I was alluding to with the Department of Education, so this is an article from Politico. So, Trump administration launches plan to dismantle education department. So, the Trump administration is implementing its widely telegraphed plan to shutter the Department of Education by transferring critical responsibilities to other federal agencies. 6 department offices would be affected by plans to move operations to 4 separate agencies, according to 2 people familiar with the discussions who were granted anonymity to discuss the details ahead of the formal announcement. The effort is a key step in fulfilling President Donald Trump's goal of entirely eliminating the agency. The department's Office of Elementary and Secondary Education, as well as its post-secondary education office, would move to the Labor Department, the people said. The agency's Office of Indian Education, I didn't even know we had an Office of Indian Education in our department, in our government, by the way, would also move to the Interior Department, the people said, while foreign language programs would be moved to the State Department. Additionally, the department would send a child care access and medical education program to the Department of Health and Human Services. The expensive and unprecedented effort to outsource the department's operations will not yet include transferring federal authority over special education to HHS, according to the people familiar with the matter who spoke as the agency began to detail the effort ahead of a formal announcement on Tuesday afternoon. So, yeah, this is all great. This is exactly what I voted for, right? I voted to end the Department of Education. Obviously, there are plans within the Department of Education that still require being in place. A lot of people rely on those, but having a formalized Department of Education, get rid of it. And what we're seeing right now is that Trump can't just snap his fingers and end the DOE. But he can bleed it out. And that's what's happening here, right? He can move around these offices to different spaces and bleed down the Department of Education until it's really a nothing office, right? I mean, it's kind of Secretary McMahon, it's kind of crazy that she was appointed as like the only secretary whose sole job was to end a department, right? So, I mean, I don't think that any other secretaries in our government are really in there right now who one of the parts of the job description was it's going to be your job to figure out how to close this thing down in one way or another. So it's just crazy to see. So I'm happy to see it. This is all good news. And the Department of Education's done absolutely nothing to improve education in our country. I would be fine with ending it outright. I don't necessarily need these offices to be moved over. I understand why they're moving offices around because people do rely on them to an extent. I would be fine with just ending it altogether. It's an expensive department to run, and the federal government has no business being involved in this. So, big fan of it. Let's see more. All right, so let's talk about this poll that was conducted. So, majority of Democrats say extremist political rhetoric contributed to Charlie Kirk's assassination. So, some Fox News. A majority of Democrats, independents, and Republicans agree that extremist political rhetoric contributed to the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, according to a new poll. The survey from NBC News found that so NBC News, by the way, take it with a grain of salt, found that 54% of Democrats agree that political rhetoric from some in the media and by political leaders was a major factor in Kirk's killing. An overwhelming majority of Republicans, 73%, expressed the same sentiment, while 53% of independents agreed. Across all respondents, 61% of Americans said that they believe rhetoric contributed to Kirk's death. Meanwhile, 28% said they believed Kirk's killing was caused more by the lone actions of a disturbed individual than the broader political climate. Another 4% said it was a combination of the two. The poll marks the first time in 15 years of NBC News polling that majorities of all major American political groups agree that extreme rhetoric was a major factor in causing a violent incident. Polls going back to 2011, to the 2011 shooting of Representative Gabrielle Giffords, she's a Democrat from Arizona, former Democrat from Arizona, show a steady rise in Americans blaming political rhetoric for violence. Gee, I wonder why that is. 2011, gosh. In Gifford's case, 71% of respondents blamed the lone attacker, or 24% blamed rhetoric. By the time President Donald Trump's second assassination attempt, however, 37% blamed the attacker and 54% blamed rhetoric. So it went from 24 to 54. In about 15 years? Or wait. Yeah, about 13, 15 years. Yeah, so about that time. Kirk's alleged killer, Tyler Robinson, faces a capital punishment trial in Utah. Members of his family say he became politically extreme and moved further and further to the left in the year leading up to Kirk's assassination. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. Not all Democrats are going to go out and kill someone, right? But it's certainly the rhetoric of the left that is pushing the extremist narrative that is okay. Tyler Robinson was an extreme individual who went out and killed a person. But the motive behind that was the rhetoric that was being pushed. Not all Democrats are dangerous people to be around. Not all Republicans are dangerous people to be around, right? There are dangerous people ever in our world who have the mental illness to be willing to go out and kill someone. And let's be clear, it takes you being mentally ill to want to go and shoot someone, right? There is no sane individual who goes out and kills anybody, right? We all know this. So it's down to the actual motive that was caused, right? Is the motive that Tyler Robinson was just a crazy person who's going to go and kill anyone? Or is the motive that he felt that Charlie Kirk was a danger to America and thus wanted to go and take him out? I believe that's the motive right there. So I'm glad to see that it appears that some Democrats are waking up and seeing that political rhetoric is dangerous. Now, if they realize it's their side who's pushing it, that's really the question. But there's no doubt about it. It's the left that is pushing dangerous political narratives. It's not the right. And it's our people who keep getting shot, right? And I recognize that there have been people on the left who have also been shot too. They brought in Gabrielle Giffords, but we've had our people getting shot at far more. We've had our people getting attacked far more in the past couple of years than at any other point, really in like the past, in this century, right? In the past 25 years, 26 years almost, right? So I'm truly interested to see what's going to happen going forward. Like, I've seen like no change, right? I've seen nothing. I've still seen Republicans. I've still seen Democrats pushing that Donald Trump is a Nazi, is Hitler. I mean, what Joe Biden's son was just on a podcast where he basically likened Trump to being a dictator on the podcast, right? I mean, you can go find the clip online and see for yourself. But I've seen no change, right? We've learned nothing from this. And I truly fear for the lives of a lot of people who I really trust and support out there, who are far more famous than I am, who have genuine death threats pushed against them. So yeah, I've seen no change, and that's what really disappoints me from all of this. And despite the fact that it appears that more and more Americans are waking up to the fact that dangerous rhetoric is a key determining factor, and if people get taken out, they get shot. We've seen no change. We saw no change. The best change we've seen is from the Trump administration characterizing Antifa as a terrorist group, right? But that's not really going to do anything, right? Like, it wasn't Antifa that went and killed Charlie Kirk. It was some crazy man with a gun. So, I don't know. I don't know. I'm saddened and disappointed to see that. I would expect more by now, but the gears of government roll slowly, especially when you have one side of the government who just refuses to take accountability for their own actions. So we got more on the on Donald Trump's and his close assassin. The chilling online trail of Trump's would-be assassin. From Blaze Media. Donald Trump's would-be assassin, Thomas Matthew Cook's digital footprint has been exposed, but not by the FBI. Rather, former Fox News host Tucker Carlson has revealed disturbing comments Crooks allegedly made on social media leading up to his decision to fire at President Trump. This online history dates back years and includes him engaging in conversations in YouTube comment sections where he explains that, quote, the only way to fight the gov is with terrorism-style attacks. Crooks' Google searches also reveal a mentally unwell young man, with searches as far back as 2019 centering around mass shootings, how to build a bomb, and firing with AR-15s as fast as possible. Prior to 2020, Crooks' comments appeared to be pro-Trump and against the left, but all that switched seemingly overnight. While the FBI has countered Carlson's claims, Blaze TV host Sarah Gonzalez isn't buying it. Quote, this is a guy who is not well, and I'm just wondering, with so many people on the FBI radar, the fact that the FBI radar can be so vast at times, I mean, they can track down anyone for anything, unless you're the pipe bomber and unless you try to assassinate the president, then running for office. Gonzalez says, quote, and all of a sudden, we can't find anything. I'm telling you guys, this man was on their radar, she says. They won't tell you that. This is my opinion. Gonzalez believes that the YouTube comments where Crooks was replying to an anonymous account discussing violent attacks point to the possibility that he was programmed to want to kill Trump. Gonzalez also points out that while Crooks was engaging in violent rhetoric in the YouTube comment section, she herself was getting censored for far less. Quote, we deserve better answers. We deserve more answers than trust us, bro, we're the FBI. I totally agree. Like, I really feel like we haven't heard enough about what has happened with the whole Trump assassination. Like, I here's the thing. I said this when Charlie Kirk was killed. I don't believe that this FBI under the Trump administration is intentionally trying to cover anything up, right? We're talking about an FBI that's being run by Republicans, investigating crimes committed against Republicans. If anyone is going to uncover the secrets and what's actually going on, it's going to be a Republican FBI. And I said when Charlie Kirk was assassinated that I want to leave the investigating to the investigators. They're the professionals here, not me. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not an investigator. I'm not law enforcement. I don't have the same information they do. And while I would like to have known more, I do trust the opinion of the FBI when it comes to the Charlie Kirk assassination, when it comes to Trump's assassination attempts. And yes, Trump was almost assassinated under the Joe Biden presidency. And I feel like we haven't heard enough about that. I feel like we haven't gotten a good enough reasoning for, like, why. Like, we've heard there was issues happening within the Secret Service. Was that really it? That the Secret Service was just, like, not doing the best job they could have that day? They didn't have the proper equipment? Like, I feel like I covered a story on the show, I don't know, a few months ago, that talked about how the Secret Service didn't have certain technology. They only had, like, one drone, or the drone was being, used for another operation that day. I don't remember exactly what was going on. But I feel like it was something where they didn't have the proper resources that day, and that led to a person being able to climb up on the roof. That being said, why aren't you watching the roofs? This is not just some person running for president. This is a former president, right? He should deserve far more Secret Service protection than anyone else other than the sitting current president, right? I would argue. So, I don't know. Like, I just feel like I haven't gotten a good enough explanation for how this was allowed to happen. And I remember that after Trump went back to Butler, Pennsylvania, after being almost assassinated, they showed far more protections around the site than they had before. And my question has been, and will continue to be, why wasn't that always how it was? Why is it that just now we were seeing an increase in security the second time he won? Why wasn't that same security the first time he was there? This seems like very logical. So, I don't know. I kind of agree with her where it's like, we're kind of getting, like, trust me bro answers from the FBI. I would like to know a little bit more. So, I'd like to have a definitive statement of if we have all the information or not. And it is startling to me that we're seeing people who were active on social media for years saying that they want to take out the president, and that seems to be that was kind of covered up, right? Because we heard after Donald Trump was assassinated that this was a Republican who assassinated him, right? When in reality, he might have been pro-Trump for a little while, but something switched, and he wasn't anymore. I want to know what that switch was. What radicalized him to want to go and kill a president? So I have one more story for y'all. So it was from Rolling Stone. So Swifties and AI chatbots inspire Cambridge Dictionary to make parasocial the word of the year. So parasocial is the word of the year. If you haven't heard what parasocial is, it's basically what Taylor Swift fans have with Taylor Swift. They have this weird relationship with her where they feel like she's like their friend, and like they're like best friends. And they have this odd relationship where they're kind of like obsessed more than the reasonable person would be for a celebrity, right? We saw this when Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got engaged, which thank God I'm not hearing about that anymore. And like people just like lost it when they announced their engagement, which was such a business decision because she was just releasing a new album then. It was clear to me, at least, that they announced they got engaged to promote her album, right? I think it's pretty obvious. And anyway, so let's read through this article. So Cambridge Dictionary defines parasocial as involving or relating to a connection that someone feels between themselves and a famous person they do not know, a character in a book, film, TV series, etc., or an artificial intelligence. It can now also be defined as the dictionary's 2025 word of the year, thanks to, at least in part, to Taylor Swift's engagement to Travis Kelce, streamer iShowSpeed, blocking an overly zealous fan, and widespread controversies involving AI chatbots. As social media intensifies the intimacy that fans feel with their adored celebrities, and with the rise in popularity of AI companions they take on personalities, the word for these one-way relationships, parasocial, is having its own moment, Cambridge Dictionary wrote in an overview of the term's development in culture throughout the year. According to the report, searches for parasocial spiked in June when iShowSpeed named Rolling Stone's most influential creator of 2025. blocked a fan account on X that published an extensive thread about his past relationship. The complication of posts made assumptions about the streamer's private life, what his family thought of his former partner, and more boundary crossing observations shared as fact. When iShowSpeed blocked the account, which identified as his number one parasocial, the user behind it pleaded, "I'll delete the tweet, please unblock me. I've dead been shaking nonstop. Please, I'll stop." Another spike came in August when Swift and Kelsey announced their engagement after 2 years of dating. Quote, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married," the couple wrote in a joint post on Instagram. "I playfully reflected the personal relationship some Swifties feel towards the musician, having been on a journey through the highs and lows of her past relationships by way of her music for nearly 2 decades. Quote, Taylor Swift is engaged, and I've never been more parasocial over someone," one viral post read. One other fan shared videos of themselves crying tears of joy, while people who have convinced themselves that Taylor Swift is secretly gay pushed more conspiracy theories. Y'all are obsessed. Y'all are obsessed. Some of y'all need to get off the internet. You need to get off the internet. You're spending far too much time on there. You need to go and touch some grass. And I say this to Taylor Swift fans specifically, but to the greater online population, y'all need to get off the internet for a little bit and go touch some grass, go get some fresh air, and stop being so darn crazy. Here's the thing. Here's what I like to say. Crying tears of joy over a celebrity. I don't mean to turn this into a Taylor Swift bash session, but crying tears of joy over a celebrity getting married, I think that's crazy behavior. I think that's crazy behavior. Full stop. And I think that we see parasocial relationships across the board. I mean, we're seeing parasocial relationships forming with AI right now, where people are making these fake AI companions. Didn't I just see a video? Did y'all see the video of the woman who got married to her AI companion? She got married to a computer. I feel like we're living out of like a sci-fi novel right now. Like, it just blows my mind. It's crazy to me that people are so chronically online that they cannot get off, and they have become so obsessed with these celebrities as if they know them, as if they are friends of theirs, as if they have a relation with them themselves aside from just enjoying their music. I admire a lot of celebrities out there. I don't think I'm friends with them. I wouldn't cry tears of joy if they got married. I would be saddened if I heard their divorce, but I wouldn't be like freaking out about it. Like, oh my gosh, right? And I fear that I'm interested to see how long it's going to be, how long this marriage is going to last between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And I just like to say something. Swifties, I'm calling it right now. Taylor Swift will be pregnant and announce it whenever her next album comes out. Mark my words, right? The next time she's an album coming out, few days before, she's going to announce that she's pregnant to get her name back in the media and get a whole bunch of free publicity for her new album, right? That's exactly what happened with the engagement. Don't be fooled. This was a business move. That's also why it's equally more creepy that y'all are crying over her when it was so clear that this was a business decision to announce her engagement in the way and manner that she did. All I gotta say there. So, speaking of being chronically online, I'm going to be taking a little mentee bee. I'm going to be taking a little sabbatical, little break. Starting on Thursday. So we're not going to have a show on Thursday. We're not going to have a show on the following Tuesday. We're not going to have a show on the following Thursday. So next time I'm going to be back here is going to be after Thanksgiving. You're not going to see me until after then. And this is my announcement that I'm going to be posting on Twitter a few times. But I'm going to be off the grid. I'm going to be off the grid. I'm not going to be online. You may see a post from me on Twitter here and there. But I am going to be off the grid. I'm going to be taking a little mentee, a little break. I'm going to be going and spending Thanksgiving with family. I'm going to be getting off the grid. I'm going to be going and touching some grass, as so many of you should be doing. Go touch some grass, please, for the love of God. Do not let parasocial enter your brain. Do not let it dominate your life. So I will see you back here in, let's see, not a week and a half, about 2 weeks. I'll see you back. Yeah, I'll see you back here in exactly 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Because I won't be here Thursday. I won't be here at all next week. But I'll be back here the following Tuesday. So look out for me. I'll be back then. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to follow me on all the social media platforms. This show goes out 6 p.m. every Tuesday and Thursday. Not Thursday this week, not next week, just today. But when the show comes out, it comes out Tuesday and Thursday on YouTube, Rumble, and X. You can watch it there. If you missed the show, you can watch it back on YouTube after the fact. If you're missing me so much, I hope you don't have a parasocial relationship with me, God willing. But if you do, you can always go back and watch older shows on YouTube. They're all up on there. They're all up on Rumble as well. And with that, I've been Nathan Hale. This has been Spin Cycle Live. We will see you back here in the next episode 2 weeks from now. Have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy some time off. Take a little mentee from yourself. Put the phones down. Do not try not to get in too many political fights with your family at the Thanksgiving dinner table. And with that, I've been Nathan Hale. This has been Spin Cycle Live. Peace out.